that do not die upon awaking, dreams that rot within like fruit left in the sun. Necromagian, Sarcophagus 3, 2. As he wandered deep in a hideous dream, the man found himself running wildly along the shadow-choked lane of an ancient sprawling mansion precinct. He ran, as though pursued by all the furies of damnation, wild-eyed, breathless, his heart hammering against his ribs like a maniacal drum. Sweat poured down his face in hot, saline rivulets that stung his wide blue eyes. He knew not how long he had fled. His memory had withered into the eternal present of terror, knowing only darkness and the dread of being overtaken. The flanking houses loomed in dreadful symmetry, their facades bearing that decadent, glacial grandeur of posthumous masks, funereal and deserted, like the ghastly scenery of a nightmarish theater of shadows. He struck upon a tall black door, pounding with bruised and bleeding fists, until the pain became unreal. Yet the door absorbed every sound, as though it were cast from lead. In despair, he fled again. Then came a noise, a guttural gurgle, an obscene bubbling from the darkened void. He halted, heart tolling like a bell of doom. Once more, that blasphemous growl echoed, nearer and fuller, like the laughter of a corpse-filled abyss. A chill of absolute despair swept through him. Thoughts, hideous, serrated, invaded his mind, tenebrous meditations that only death could silence. It was as though all the cavernous horrors of creation had found lodging in his skull, feeding upon his fragmented sanity. It was not the fear of death that gnawed at him, but the terror of the unholy, the unclean, the madness that walks with form festering and miasmic, an abomination that pursued him through the lightless lanes. As the last tatters of his reason unraveled, he turned his gaze, stretching several hundred feet before ending abruptly at a wall of cyclopean stone. He screamed, a sound torn from the primal marrow, and hurled himself toward the final row of houses. There he saw that their doors were no doors at all, but sepulchral slabs, their centers burdened with grand handles of lead. Then he understood. These were not houses, they were tombs. The lane itself had become a necropolis, illumined faintly by the violet pallor of a morbid moon climbing a bleak, ashen sky, casting its necrotic iridescence upon the desecrated world. Weeds, gravestones, and mausoleums flanked the cobbled path, ending at the wall, the barrier of his doom. There, he knew he must face the blasphemy, whose choking rhythmic bellow crept through the darkness to claim its due. He ran toward the wall, desperate to see only the immensity of it, its architectural impossibility, a monolith of extinction, built by the imagination of some merciless freak. Then he saw himself from above, his consciousness unmoored, fluttering like a dying moth above this forgotten eternity of nightmare. He saw his own form below, small, trembling, clad in rags. But the most mind-rending revelation was his own face, from which every trace of humanity had fled. With a cry that sundered the silence, he clawed at his visage, finding no mouth, no eyes, no nose, only the blank graft of living meat. Then, in a spasm of blind horror, he heard the swine-like grunt of the thing. It was there, above him, snorting, drooling ropes of pestilential saliva upon his trembling body. As the beast's cold, howling blizzard breath froze his veins, the last ember of consciousness guttered out before his body gradually started to be absorbed by the shadowy abomination, dissolving into thin air, like candle smoke after the flame has been extinguished. Sated, the beast howled with a deep, growling intensity before shifting into a massive black hound, its eyes glowing like embers from a demon's hearth. searching hungrily for its next victim.